Abrams.
And I'm Kristin. Welcome to Anne Arundel County Week in Review. In this week's episode, we'll meet the new man in charge of transportation and take a look at a great after-school program in Brooklyn Park. But first, making headlines this week. History is in the making this week at the Annapolis Library. On Wednesday, February 1st, we'll hold a public screening of the documentary, Who is Anne Arundel? The 30-minute program was produced by Arundel TV and features historians as well as experts who will talk about the life of the county's namesake. Let's take a look at the trailer for the presentation.
In a time of kings, queens, their allies, religious strife, and transatlantic voyages, two families, led by an ultimate politician and decorated warrior, joined forces. Local experts helped take us back 400 years ago into Maryland's history to debunk myths and answer the question, who was Anne Arundel?
Following the screening, experts will be on hand to answer questions from the audience. You'll also get a sneak peek of an exhibit opening in the Maryland Room that will feature Lady Baltimore and her famous family. It will have a station to watch the documentary as well as pictures and primary materials about Anne's life. We understand County Executive Steve Schuh and Public Schools Superintendent George Arlotto will also be on hand. So come on out and learn about the history of our great county.
Exciting.
I love this. It takes me back to 5th grade. We talked about this on the show already, but I remember learning about Lord and Lady Baltimore and Anne Arundel and Calvert, everything when we were in elementary school. So I'm glad that we are bringing this back. I could use a refresher.
Well, even experts like yourself, you might learn something.
I'm definitely not an expert.
Actually, I can guarantee you will learn something from this.
Oh, I'm very excited to see this.
Here's a good one. Here's a little bit that didn't fit into the documentary that ended up on the cutting room floor. There's a little neighborhood in West Annapolis. Are you familiar with West Annapolis?
Fairly.
Okay.
Okay.
And you know where I'm going with this? It's called Wardour.
Wardour.
Are you familiar with Wardour?
Wardour.
You know what Wardour is?
Go ahead.
Wardour is the castle where Anne Arundel was born.
See, there you go.
So folks in West Annapolis, the county's namesake, the little neighborhood in your area there was named after Anne Arundel.
That's
How about
fantastic.
that? There's all kinds of little tidbits like that. Not that one though, because it didn't make it.
Yeah, that didn't make it. But now we know.
But
you heard it first.
We worked hard on this and did a lot of legwork and spent a good amount of time putting this project together. So hopefully people will like it. Hopefully it'll be something, taught in schools for many, many years. So I think it was a void that there just wasn't something one stop where you could learn everything about Anne Arundel.
I'm sure you didn't think about this while you were putting it together, but this could be a great accompaniment to when teachers are teaching this in school. Maybe they'll use and refer to this video for years to come.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope they like it. I hope everybody likes it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's going to be fun. We expect a packed house, so make sure you come by.
Come out.
Well, we all appreciate the hard work and bravery of our personnel in public safety. This week, volunteer firefighters were front and center as County Executive Schuh signed legislation improving their service benefits. The Length of Service Award Program, or LOSAP, was updated and improved to keep Anne Arundel County competitive with other jurisdictions. It calls for volunteers with 25 years of service or more to receive $300 a month, and those with 45 years of service or more receive $400 a month. Volunteer firefighters said the changes were very welcome.
The benefit was last adjusted in 2001, so we were a little overdue for an adjustment as far as the service award was concerned. Howard County, Prince George's County, Calvert County have all updated their programs. So there's a little bit of competitiveness in trying to find the market share. So part of the recruitment and retention program is to be, we'll say, competitive in the market to draw volunteers in and have them join our force as opposed to going across the line to Calvert, Howard, or Prince George's.
Councilman Michael Peruka helped get the legislation passed, and he harkened back to the days of good old Ben Franklin when volunteer fire companies were invented.
See, because on December 7th, 1736, Franklin and 4 friends founded the Union Fire Company. There were 26 members of this first brigade, and each member agreed to bring 6 leather buckets to carry water and 2 stout linen bags to rescue endangered property to every fire upon first being alerted of that emergency. And members were appointed to different roles. They were water management and property protection, putting lights in neighboring windows to ensure organized and prompt reaction. Now, the Union Fire Company was immediately popular, and they soon had more volunteers than they needed. And when they reached 30 members, they refused to take new volunteers, and instead they told them to go organize a new brigade, because the more brigades, the more the city could be covered, and it worked.
Keeping with our history theme today, Kristin.
I love it.
We got Anne Arundel, we got George and Cecilius Calvert, and we got good old Ben Franklin.
We always think of the news and reporting the news as something that's late breaking or something that's going on right now, but sometimes we need to look back.
Can you believe that we don't have a modern day Ben Franklin? I mean, the guy did everything. He did everything. He didn't just invent things like what? He didn't invent electricity. He did the key with the kite, right?
He invented electricity.
Oh, I thought that was Edison.
No, that's the
The light bulb. Okay, so I did have that right. Sarah, I knew that. I knew that. Okay, I'm a resident historian here, and I know
Very good.
Ben Franklin, but he helped write the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
And he brokered, deals with Britain during the Revolutionary War. I mean, the guy did everything. We don't have anybody like that. I mean, probably the closest is like
I'm
Steve
thinking
Jobs.
I was going to say Steve Jobs.
Yeah,
and-
but he didn't. I mean, all he really did was invent computer stuff.
Well, we
He
rely on that stuff all the time.
I mean, Ben
And I think-
Franklin created the first almanac. Almanac, you
I
love
love
the almanac.
But I do think that we are more open and able to take ideas from young inventors or budding inventors and turn them into something new with all the apps that we've created, with formats where we have more hubs where people can go and discuss new ideas. I think that the way we come about new inventions and new inventors like Ben Franklin, we've certainly opened the door as we get more and more into the future. So
True.
it's nice to
But
know.
I miss Ben Franklin.
And speaking of things that we have done to make things work more efficiently.
I see what you did there.
Yes.
Mhm.
Dave, do you think there is some way the government could do something better to work more efficiently?
Always.
Always.
Can always do better.
Yes. Well, now's your chance to weigh in. The county executive has formed the Commission on Government Innovation and Effectiveness. Say that 3 times fast.
Nope.
The commission will examine functions handled by county agencies that could be successfully handled by communities, nonprofits, and private sector firms, as well as how technology can be used to work smarter, an area we definitely could excel better in.
Absolutely.
The first meeting of the commission will be Thursday, February 9th at 4 p.m. in the Chesapeake Room of the Heritage Office Building on Riva Road in Annapolis. The commission will submit its report in April of this year. For more information, go to aacounty.org and click on the headline about the commission.
So you've been working in government for a while now. You got,
Yeah.
any big ideas here on how to innovate?
Like I said, I definitely think that the technology, where there's so many things that we still do by paper that really slow the
Yes.
process. So we're always looking to do that. We were one of the first county
Yeah,
agencies.
Rick Napolitano.
We were one of the first county agencies to have a Facebook page, and I think that a lot of them have them now. I think people are using more opportunities like social media, like online forums in order to communicate with the government, let us know what they need, let us know how we're doing. Hopefully it's good comments. So I think we're getting there. It's
Yeah.
just really going the full
We need to
Monty.
figure out how to get people through social media to discuss things a little bit differently. So there's more
Yeah.
context and there's more information and not a gut reaction to 3 words.
Yeah, I think
It's
people
too
like to
quick,
get
it's
angry
Too
and-
confrontational.
Yeah.
We need to figure out a way to make that more constructive.
Sure.
So can you work on that?
Oh yeah, I'm right on top of that.
Can you give us a report by the end
Modern
of
day
next
Ben
week?
Franklin here.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Channel your
I'm
Ben
going to change the
Franklin.
way we use Facebook.
There you go.
Innovative.
And then send a memo to Mark Zuckerberg. I'm
got
sure,
it.
sure he'll take it under advisement. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll talk to Ramond Robinson about how to get people moving on bikes and cars and buses, trains, all that good stuff in the county. Take a look at our community calendar for events happening around town, and we'll be right back.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
Welcome back. Joining us on the show this week, we have Ramond Robinson in studio, transit officer for the county. Ramond, how's it going today?
It's going good. How are you?
We're doing great here.
Good.
Tell us about your role and responsibilities as transit officer.
So some of the roles and responsibilities that I have as a transit officer are kind of layered on top of each other. So you think transit, you think buses and people, and that's it. That's the main focus. But I think part of what I'm doing here for Anne Arundel County is to look at to establish better networks, primarily to get people from point A to point B and looking at multiple modes and systems to be able to do so. So there could be times where we have to figure out how to get cars from point A to B better, or transit from point A to B better. How do we connect, pedestrian elements to get people from point A to B better? How do we incorporate bicycles to get people from point A to B better? So transit being kind of the overall, how do you move people? And the standard for that is to determine how we establish some connections within the county. So that's going to entail talking to a lot of people, looking at a lot of the existing systems that we do have, working with planning and zoning to establish a transportation master plan that will kind of lay out the vision and the guidance and how we want to move and do things going forward. So that's kind of the short version of which is a really, really big task. But the main thing is for the county executive, when he brought me in, he said, hey, this is what I want to focus on first, which is how do we have more of an economic development association within the county, i.e., how do we get Anne Arundel County residents to Anne Arundel County employment centers or to shopping or to all the other needs that they may have. And so that's kind of a short-sighted, immediate thing, but it's layered up under there, this connection that we want to establish for Anne Arundel County. So
and
that's,
Kristin, we should mention that Ramond is a pro, okay? Seriously, we have not had no offense to our friend George Cardwell, who did a similar job for several years in planning and zoning, but Ramond has a lot of experience in running large operations. Can you tell us a little bit about where you've been before?
So, a pro is kind of a strong word.
You're a pro.
You're always learning, always learning, always learning.
We're
I
not.
can say it. You don't say it. I say it.
So definitely, some of my experiences, just to kind of go through it briefly, I started as an apprentice through the North Carolina Department of Transportation. A lot of people, when you talk about transportation and transit, usually there are one or two ways of how you end up there. Either you have a fondness and a love for it, or you fall into it. I was a little bit of both. So I was kind of on the line, a little bit of, hey, I like this a lot, and then a little bit of, oh man, I fell into this. All right, so in doing that, I started working in Raleigh-Durham. I worked for a regional transportation provider there, which is now Go Triangle, but at the time it used to be called Triangle Transit Authority. And so a part of my position there was to kind of learn the operations from the ground up. And so that led to looking at the different capital outlets, looking at the workforce, looking at the budget as it related to the operation, which was a regional operation, and then being able to utilize what I had learned from a planning perspective to kind of design and implement services. So that was kind of my start. It's like, hey, I really like this. And so from there, I moved on to Charlotte, North Carolina, which was a bigger venue. There were more modes there. So here, where you didn't just have, van pool, ride share, and transportation demand management, but you now also had fixed guideway by the way of light rail. So that was really, really cool. Did a lot of good things there. And then from there, moved on to Savannah, Georgia, where you didn't have
one of my favorite cities.
I love that place.
You see the progression here?
He likes the East Coast.
I do.
He's mobile.
Getting bigger and bigger, yeah.
He's moving along.
All right, so in Savannah, it was a little bit different. So there was wasn't as much fixed guideway there as a return to light rail, but we did have a ferry, and then we did have buses and ride share, van pool. And so it was more looking at things from a county perspective, but also having the city interpretation, very much like you have here in Anne Arundel County with the city of Annapolis. A lot of good things came out of being in Savannah, Georgia. I made a lot of good relationships. I put together a transit development plan, and this was the first one that was actually looking at things more from a business perspective, looking at what are the economics of having better mobility management as opposed to just kind of saying, hey, we'll tell the bus to go here.
Which sounds like something you're relying on now for this project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you went to?
So from there I went to, I will be remiss if I did not talk about the bike share program. So I initiated the first bike share program in the state of Georgia. And we did this through B-Cycle. And it was the first time that the transit agency was actually over the bike program. And it was about becoming more multimodal as a transportation agency. So you see that connotation of it's all about moving people, having connections,
we want
that type of thing.
Yep.
So from there I went to Alexandria, Virginia, and in Alexandria,
too.
You had multiple modes, and then working with WMATA, which is, a big regional provider. So there were a lot of good things that were done there. They had bus rapid transit that was started there. The MGM Grand, while I was there, working on services to kind of help with that. Again, economic development, kind of standing out and standing strong about how you make these connections and how it's better for, everybody within the region. And the opportunity to come to Anne Arundel County just kind of appeared. And the reason that I liked this opportunity because it was more about, hey, you can actually build something and create something. And so I'm really big on that. And so when I saw this opportunity, I was like, man, you can't beat this. And so it's like, whenever you tell people, well, I'm the transit officer, I'm the person that's working in transportation for Anne Arundel County, and they're like, hey, man, you got a big job. And I'm like, yeah, it could be looked
But
at
how
as
exciting.
It is exciting because now you're getting a chance to actually see things from the ground up. And so there's nothing better than actually seeing the product move forward. And this is going to be something that is not going to happen overnight, but there are so many different pieces that are going to be associated with it. And I think that it will have a growth that will kind of grow with the county. The county is about better business and bringing business to the county. And so you want to make sure that you have that connectability to kind of help to enforce that type of infrastructure for being what businesses want, being why businesses want to come here. So I definitely think and can see the importance in that. And so when I saw this opportunity, it's like, man, you can't turn that down. That's really cool. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, we're excited to have you.
And did you all coordinate your colors?
Yes, we did. I
My
called
goodness, I
Ramond
feel
and
left
said,
out. I feel left
what are you wearing today? Okay, I'll wear
We
that
all have
too.
black pants. Weird. We never do that.
So you haven't been on board that long. I think we said just over 90 days.
Yeah, just over 90 days.
If you could give us an assessment about how mobility is currently in the county.
Where do we stand now?
Yeah.
So I think that there are a lot of positives within the county to be able to work off of. Again, it's all about how do you make connectivity? How do you leverage a lot of the synergies that you have from transportation bodies in other counties in some cases, or just from a regional perspective. So, for transit, just to kind of focus on that, you have the Regional Transit Administration of Central Maryland, or Regional Transit Agency of Central Maryland. You have Annapolis Transit, you have Maryland Transit Administration. So all of these different transportation bodies are funneling into Anne Arundel County. So they have services that are coming in, services that are going out. So the question is, how do we look at this and make it so that it's seamless and it's going to be something that's easily understandable for the residents and that it's going to the places that it needs to get to? Again, the main focus is we want to create this synergy around the connectability of the county. And one of the things that you start with is how do you get people from where they are to the needs that they have?
Yes.
So there's that.
And again, he's being modest because when Ramond started, he came into a meeting with the county executive and we have a map, okay, of all the transit modes in the county executive's office. This map was made by hand. Literally, Margaret and planning and zoning with pen and paper drew this map because the county did not have a comprehensive map of all the transit modes where you could sit back and look at it and literally see where the gaps were. So it was almost, we were a little embarrassed to show that to Ramond. So part of, that just should, we have a long way to go. Let's be honest about it. We have a long way to go. And
Also, we get the best of the best.
and Ramond is up to it, and he's got a lot of stuff going on, so it's gonna be a lot better.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, you know, there are some things that need to happen, but I think that the one positive is that you have a willing administration, and,
Right.
an administration that, from what I understand, they understand that these gaps exist and they're prevalent, and so you put yourself in a position to have the resources to address these things, or at least bring these information points to you so that you can start to address these things. And I think that that's a good thing. And there are plans that are in place. You speak of George Caldwell. George Caldwell did a marvelous job.
He did.
I've talked to George. I've been able to talk to him just about different things, and he's been kind of able to point me in the right direction. So I think that there's a lot of things that are in place. What I hope to do is to kind of pull it all together. And then from pulling it all together, you know, start to layer on top of it what can be done. What are some things that can kind of help? And again, grow with the way that the county is trying to grow. And that doesn't mean it's got to grow real fast, because
Right.
none of this is going to happen overnight.
Of
right?
course.
You're not gonna put a subway.
Absolutely.
Now, I imagine.
Just
and-
kidding, folks. Just kidding. There's no subway, okay?
I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if this would fall into your realm or not, but we've talked before about the opening of boatways and paths. Would that also fall and be something that you'd get to? Is water transportation?
We need a ferry.
So, I mean, you know, as we are looking at plans and we're looking at different elements of mobility, that'll definitely be something that will be in the wheelhouse of transportation.
That's just something neat to play with too.
I mean, that's definitely something that is a benefactor. Again, coming from Savannah, where we did have a ferry service.
Right.
Primarily, the purpose of the ferry service was there was Hutchinson Island, and you know, you kind of cross Hutchinson Island where the hotels were, and so there was a real need to have this service that were basically for tourism.
Yeah.
So, and those are the type of economic development opportunities that you then start to kind of look at, and all being stemming from transportation,
Yeah.
or mobility, or connectability. Right?
Yeah,
So.
I like it.
Well, we've been working together quite a bit, and it's been a real pleasure so far. And one of the things I liked working with you on is, I'm going to bring it up again, University of Maryland PALS. PALS. We have some PALS projects that you've been working on. Tell us a little bit about what we're doing with the students there.
So one of the great things is you talked about the map. So we were able to kind of talk to the students to say, hey, you know, these are some things that we would like to kind of see in a map. You know, the first thing would be to include all the modes that are prevalent to the county. The other thing would be to kind of look at some of the demographic overlays. You know, where are certain people located? You know, how do we know to connect certain populations of people to Anne Arundel County jobs? Where are
Right.
some of these employment centers? You know, so just kind of a map of duality. Show us where it is, and so we can actually.
An electronic map, no crayons. No crayons.
And so we can use that, and we can layer that, and you can use that to kind of help us as we move forward. And then I think some of the projects that we're looking at working with PALS on in the next semester is, now that we've kind of identified where the mobility areas are, now we can try and look at where some of the corridors within the county is. So, you know, Route 2 would be something, for example. You know, it
Right.
could be that Route 2 is one of those areas where light rail might not be an ideal situation, but, you know, bus rapid transit or bus enhanced services or something like that, where you have more passenger amenities, different types of buses, you know, that type of thing, you know, because those are the types of things that actually help to spur development.
Right.
Or development will kind of tell you, hey, you know, based on where this is, we might need enhanced transportation service, or we might need additional lanes because, you know, you're going to have an inflow of more traffic and the levels of service are going to change and be different. You know, those are those connectability elements. And then Route 2 kind of going up into the airport. How do we make those connections? You know, how do we get connections from Annapolis to the airport? How do we get from Anne Arundel County, from, you know, the Annapolis or surrounding to the airport or Maryland Live? You know, how do we make those connections? And so those are some of the things that we're kind of going to get the kids to kind of look at for us, you know, just give them some simple inputs and say, okay, we'll look at this and, you know, tell us what you think. And then we kind of layer that on some of the plans that we already have. And then I think, again, you get a benefit for the kids, because I'm all about the interning and Scholastic, because that's how I was able to make it through, but you also get a benefit for the county as well. So I think that's a great working relationship. It was something that was done before I got here. I'm glad that it's in place, and so
we'll put them to work.
Some good things.
Get them work.
Well, if I'm taking transit for the first time, what's a good resource for me to use as far as getting more acclimated with routes, times, et cetera?
So there are probably a couple of different resources that you could use. If this is your first time, what I would tell you to do is to go to www.mdtrip.org.
Easy enough.
And what that will do is, because again, remember, we have so many different variations of service within the county,
Right.
that will kind of give you more of a trip planning perspective. And so depending on where
Point
you're
A to
trying,
point B.
right,
Yeah.
depending on where you're trying to get to, you can have that to map out your trip. In addition to that, you can always use Google. Google is also a good resource if you're trying
like
to
Google.
get from point A to
Yep.
point B. There's a transit section. You know, you hit the little button and it tells you, it'll lay out your trip for you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've
Absolutely.
seen this. I love Google.
Yeah, and then you can always go to the county's website as well, because
Yes.
we do have transit and transportation elements on the county's website.
Follow updates on that with you there. And
We got a
also
good
we'll have
app.
you.
We got a good app on there. You can
And an app
download.
too.
Yes.
And we'll have to have you back on whenever you've got some more updates for us. But it was such a pleasure having you in the studio today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and thank you for all the good work that you're doing. And yes, please come back soon. I like talking about this. We'll be right back with more Week in Review right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. A great program in Brooklyn Park is helping provide after-school activities to keep students away from drugs. Sara Gannon is there with this report. Sarah?
Thanks, Kristin and Dave. I want to introduce you to Meleny Thomas today at ReDiscovering Me Clubhouse in Brooklyn Park. Meleny, I appreciate you meeting with me today. Meleny, can you tell me what you do at ReDiscovering Me Clubhouse?
Absolutely. So ReDiscovering Me Clubhouse is one of the programs of the Chesapeake Center for Youth Development. I've been with the organization now for 9 years and in this position for the past 4 years. Well, it'll be 4 years in March. And what we
Congratulations.
do, thank you. And what we do here is we provide services for youth 12 to 17 that live in Anne Arundel County that have a history of substance use. So that is whether they say, I admit to smoking marijuana, cigarettes, drinking alcohol, using pills, or any type of those substances. So we provide services that are non-clinical to those youth.
That's excellent. Can you tell me how long you've been in this building?
So we've been in the building since March of 2013.
Wow. Now, how do they find you?
So really, right now, it's been a lot of groundwork, really trying to get the word out about it, but we have connected with the Crisis Center, we've connected with PPW workers and social workers and different school personnel that may have those students that, need our services, and that's where we get our referrals from. And then also from peer to peer. The youth will tell other peers.
Gotcha. Now, do you have folks from throughout the county coming, or is it just within the community?
Throughout the county. So we service northern Anne Arundel County. So we have youth as far out as Gamebro, Laurel, Pasadena, Severna Park, Severn.
Wow.
So we have a wide tracking area.
Wow, they come from all over then. Wow, that's
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
Well, behind us here, could you tell us a little bit about the project that has taken place here?
Absolutely. So these projects, I'm big on vision boards and, trying to get them to think outside the box and think about their futures and what it is that they want to do. So each year we do our dream boards, and these are just some of the examples that the youth have done that represent something towards their future. They were given a task of identifying 4 to 5 career goals or business goals, as well as they had to put 2 quotes on there or things that they want to live by for 2017 and 2016. So some of the youth, one of the youth, she's really interested in getting her own perfume line. Her name is Chanel.
She's ambitious. I love it.
So that's why she has the entrepreneur and her Chanel cologne right there representing her name. Then we have some other youth. They go to Cap North, the Center of Applied Technology, and he's really interested in playing pool and fixing cars and just really going into that trade. So that's what his board represents. And never give up is never back down and never give up are two of the quotes. And
Good
that
motto.
youth, absolutely, absolutely. And that youth, he really exemplifies that. Like, he's one that's really ambitious. You know, he has some challenges, and but he never lets that stop him. So that's what we try to instill
Love
in
it.
them.
I'm not sure if you are aware, I'm a coach. I coach girls sports, so you're like a coach, too. And it's really important that these young folks have a role model, a place to go, and things to do.
Absolutely.
So it's very important. You're doing great things here. Great things here. Any events coming up that you want to share?
So we have one of the events that we'll be doing for Tobacco Free Kids Week is it's called, let me think of it, Be Fly, which stands for First Love Yourself, Don't Smoke or Get High. So we're inviting the parents and the students out, and what we're going to do is we're going to show Chasing the Dragon, and have that discussion around tobacco and opioids and different things that are plaguing the youth in our society right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with the opioid crisis that we're having in our county. As you know, we work together on that at times, and also you're involved with Healthy Anne Arundel coming up.
Yes.
You have some events coming up for that, but I know when we get a little closer to the time, we'll definitely touch base again and share and get all that information out, because it's going to be a hoppin' April.
Yes. It sure will.
It's going to be great, though. It's going to be great. A lot of good things coming up. So, well, thank you again for meeting me today.
Thank you.
And you're doing fabulous things here. Fabulous.
Thank you.
Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Sarah. Giving kids things to do is half the battle.
Right? And we need to go back and do some more, talk to the kids and do those sort of things to profile, what they're doing. Obviously, you have issues with minors, videotaping minors. We have to get their consent and all that stuff. But great program. And
Many kudos to the folks that are running this.
Yep. And
really
this
have
is
to
a
have
good
a lot of heart and
opportunity if you're
passion.
looking for something to volunteer. It's a
Great
great way to help out.
opportunity. Yeah.
I mean, kids need stuff to do.
They do.
If there's nothing to do, what are you
That's
going to
when
do?
you fall into
Idle
bad
hands.
choices,
The
exactly.
devil's workshop.
Oh. Any more synonyms?
No, not today.
Exploring our
Whoa.
vocabulary and getting into some new words in the new year?
No, but you could do some mnemonic devices for us.
I do love mnemonic devices.
How do we
So-
know how many days there are in January?
Oh gosh. 30 days past September, April, June, and November. The rest will have 31 except for February. Lots of fun.
There you go. January has 31.
It's so funny though, but I
See?
have to say it real quick in order to forget.
But it works.
Because it's a mnemonic device.
I don't
right?
even remember the mnemonic device, but when you do
It's
it,
a
now I
rhyme
know
thing.
January has 31.
I have a thing about rhymes and numbers. I'm a weirdo. I can remember a lot of weird phone numbers just because if
There
they
you
are
have
in
it.
certain-
Kristen is a weirdo. She
I
has
am.
admitted it. Show over.
Show's over. So last week we talked about New Year. One of my resolutions was to declutter.
Declutter.
We talked about a wardrobe, a minimalist wardrobe.
Burlap. Yep.
Right, burlap.
Burlap
The
is-
burlap idea. Going along with that, I wanted to ask you about other, maybe tips you have. I know you're a bit of a DIYer, and
I am.
that's a pretty popular thing now too, because along with that minimalist attitude, not outsourcing so many jobs to other people, saving your money, doing things yourself.
You're just tying it all together here.
I'm trying.
And-
So,
well,
I'd like to hear about
yes.
your projects.
Here's my Dave Abrams tip of the day for you, okay?
Yes.
This is how to wow your family, your significant other, and make them think that you are a DIY dynamo.
love it. Let's
okay,
go.
you ready for
I love
this?
cheats.
Ready for this?
Let's do it.
Replace your shower head. Oh. What?
A new shower head can make you feel like you're out of sight.
Right?
What
It
an
changes your
ingenious
life.
idea,
It's
yeah.
not that expensive. You can go to your local hardware store. Is
Yeah.
that still what we call it? Home goods store?
Your home
hardware,
improvement store.
Home improvement store. And you can purchase these products anywhere from, say, $40 to $100 tops.
Yep.
And you can get the most fancy shower head. And then here's the beauty. You just unscrew the old one, screw the new one in.
I love it.
You're done.
I love
Boom.
it.
And then you call your significant other in,
Look what I did.
spray some water on your
shower,
face
see how you
and feel
feel.
all sweaty and get some grease on yourself and just, oh my God, it was so hard and I worked on it for hours. But look what I did for you, honey.
New shower, new you.
It's wonderful, right?
I love it.
So okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Do you have it's not a green thumb. What do you call that? Are you handy? Are you a handy person?
I need someone to help guide me and tell me what to do, but I can do it myself as long as I have direction.
So you can provide the muscle.
I wouldn't know how to go in and gut a kitchen, but once we have a plan, I could help you tear some stuff down.
So you've done demo before?
Yeah, I've done demo.
Done some sledgehammer
I did
stuff?
some
How about painting?
sledgehammer.
How about painting?
I've done painting. Painting. I actually used to work with...
I know you've done painting, but have you done painting?
Painting. I used to do painting. I used to work with Habitat for Humanity. So I've done demo. I've
That's
done
right.
painting.
Some
Yeah.
carpentry.
Another great organization you should definitely get involved
That's
with
right.
if you are seeking more of our New Year,
Drive
New You.
some nails. You can drive some nails.
If you're looking to volunteer this year, Habitat for Humanity, I can't speak highly enough about them. I
So-
like this. We're talking about...
Yeah, so when you do, so did you do interior house painting?
I did.
Now, here's the key question. Did you use the tape to mask off the molding, or did you just
I used
freehand
tape.
it? Good.
You have to use tape.
See, we're on the same page here.
I'm human. I will own up to the fact that we make mistakes.
But you don't want people to know you made mistakes, so you
use
put
the
the
tape.
tape.
That's why.
And you gotta use the frog tape, because the other tape, it comes off, and then it's a big mess, and then...
That's another great point for your DIY segment.
Yeah.
You could take a piece of furniture, sand it down a bit, give it a new paint job, instead of going and buying a new piece.
Done that.
I love HGTV.
Done
We could
that.
go on and on about this.
I know,
My
I
girl
know.
and my guy Joanna and Chip Gaines.
How about plaster and spackle? You done any of that?
That is a little more foreign to me.
It's tricky.
But I've had to do it before because I've rented plenty of spaces and I like to hang a lot of things.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned this, because I accidentally punched a hole in a wall in my house.
Great.
And I'd
What
like you
did
to
I
come
just walk
over
into?
and fix that for me.
Yeah, not a problem.
It's a learning experience.
But yeah, I've always asked my dad to show me what he's
Is your
doing.
dad a
and
handy
try-
man?
Yeah,
He's a handy
absolutely.
dude?
Absolutely. He's handy with house stuff. He's handy with cars. Someone put a dent in the front of my bumper last week. My dad literally went through.
Just kicked it and walked right by.
No, seriously, they were backing their car up, and they must have done it slowly because they didn't scrape it. They just dented it in
Right.
at the corner of my front bumper, driver's side.
And
If you know who did this,
Call us.
let me know.
That's right. 410-222-0098.
We're taking calls now.
Our lines are open.
Oh, what's that?
Operators
Going
are ready
crazy.
to respond.
Going crazy right
Chief
now.
Altamari.
Everyone's pointing.
So how did your dad fix it?
So anyway, we popped the hood. He literally reached down. He said he used a drumstick and just kind of popped it out.
Of course.
Who does that?
Of course, in the Lagana household,
Right.
we use drumsticks to
But what
repair a
I'm
car.
saying is, don't take it to someone and waste your money if you can use your own hands or your dad's hands and fix it.
I charged my air conditioner in my car last summer. I was very excited about
See?
that. That stuff in the can,
Yeah.
that stuff works.
Oh, yeah.
It's super easy.
Oh, yeah.
That would cost you over $100 if you took
You're
it to a
absolutely
shop.
right.
And they'll tell you got a leak and you need this and you need that. You need to seal the air conditioning, all this stuff.
Yeah, we were
Do it yourself.
having an issue with the gnats and flies in the house, and we recaulked the windows ourselves. Not a problem anymore.
I love the gnats. I like them a lot better than the Orioles.
Oh, yeah.
That wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode and archive episodes online anytime on Facebook or YouTube by simply searching for Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for more highlights and news from around the county, and we'll see you next time.
Now you got me all excited for baseball.